I was asked recently, Glasgow, by like a proper publishing company said to me, do you want to write an autobiography? And I've given it a little bit of thought. I've made some notes, and I thought we might go through the notes this evening and see whether we think it's a good idea for me to write a book. Just out of interest, if I wrote a biography, who here would buy it? Well, it might just be worthwhile. You never know your luck. Well, look, I've been asked to write it, so I thought I'd make some notes. Obviously, my first thought when they said, do you want to write a biography, was, well, I wish I'd kept a journal, but I never kept a journal because I'm not a fat goth girl. The first thing you've got to talk about, if you write one of these kind of cash in on your fame biographies, you've got to talk about being famous. You know, has fame changed me? No, I've always been a bit of a cunt. It's a very odd thing, being famous. I get this thing happen now where about once a week someone will come up to me in the street and go, I know you from somewhere. Did we go to school together? And I've discovered there's no way to say to another human being, no, we didn't go to school together, but do you own a television? Without sounding like a total fucking arsehole. What, sorry? Is that Buckfast? No, that's water. You've probably heard of it. Who's the most famous person I've ever met? Well, I once met it's quite an impressive one. I don't want to show off, but you know how villages have got idiots, yeah? I met the idiot for the whole of Glasgow. Yeah. Yes, he's one of the biggest cunts in the world, yeah. And you married him. That is, again, that will only happen in Glasgow. You call someone a cunt and their wife goes, yep. Oh, don't I know? Fucking hell. Yeah, I'll record it in Glasgow, it'll be fine. Really? Really? The big advantage to being famous, as I see it, is if I ever get Alzheimer's, I'm going to be absolutely fine. If I ever forget who I am, I'll be fine. Because as I wander around town for the day, people are constantly going, oh, look, Jimmy Carr. Oh, look, Jimmy Carr. Oh, look, Jimmy Carr. Jimmy Carr. So if I forget my identity, I'll be constantly reminded. The downside to that is about 5% of the time, people get it wrong and think I'm Alan Carr. So about once a week, I'd end up back at the care home sucking off an old fella. Oh, I don't really like it. Looks. Let's talk about my looks. Well, could be worse. It could have been a pop-up book. Looking at me, you wouldn't think I was voted the 4th sexiest man in Britain. And you'd be right. I wasn't. People often ask, how do you get the Jimmy Carr look? Well, get your mother to drink heavily during pregnancy. Sorry, mate, no offence. I do look a little like Roger Federer, and a lot like Ian Beale's daughter from EastEnders. Yeah, I wish that wasn't funny. I wish that didn't ring true, but sadly it does, doesn't it? It's an odd thing, being on TV, being on stage in front of all you people, it makes you more vain than you should otherwise be. I mean, I'm a 37-year-old man. I shouldn't be vain at all. I realise you can't polish a turd. But you can roll it in glitter, can't you? So you do the best with what you've got. And I always try and make the best of myself, try and, dress well and present myself well. It only ever leads to embarrassment, vanity. I remember the first time I did a room this size in London, my older brother came to the gig. Yeah, I've always, looked up to my older brother. He came to the show, came backstage afterwards. He didn't say anything about the performance. He just went, are you wearing makeup? And to my eternal shame, I went, no, it's tinted moisturiser. I realise now, I couldn't have sounded gayer to him with 2 cocks in my mouth. Let's talk about my career. I've got a terrible boss, self-employed, and I'm currently on sexual harassment charges. Of course, on the other hand, you are looking at Employee of the Month. How can I explain what it's like? You know when you walk past like an electrical goods store and they've got all the TVs in the store hooked up to one camera and you kind of do that weird thing of waving at yourself as you walk by? And there's an odd moment where you go, well, I don't want to stop waving because I'm still waving. That's what Channel 4 is like for me. I'm like their fucking screensaver. And for the moment, it's just stand-up and TV for me. My acting career has been put on hold, and that was a decision taken by you, the British public. Yeah, a lot of comedians that I started with have now gone to Hollywood to make movies, which is great, you know, well done them. But there's something called loyalty, and there's something else called a lack of talent and no offers. I've just noticed, can you all just keep a little bit quiet for a second? I've just noticed there's a man over there, that pit in a blue jumper. I think he might be asleep. If you could just keep quiet around him. Just shush, shush. Oh, fuck, he's woken. Fuck. Hello? You're having a fucking weird dream, aren't you? I wouldn't fall asleep again. Something very bad will happen. I was going to teabag him. Shit. It's annoying, isn't it? Sounds like it would have been a very popular choice. What's your name? Stephen. You had to have a little think, though, didn't you? All right, and what do you do, Stephen? Footballer. You're a footballer. Who do you play for? Stranraer. He's a footballer. He plays for Stranraer. Okay, I'm fucking shit at football as well, mate. Don't worry about it. That's fine. Don't worry about that. Don't feel bad. Stranraer, and is that 5-a-side, is it? You got a full team? Wonderful. Well, I bet you're a great kicker. You lazy fuck. Try and pay attention. It's not like people fall asleep when Stranraer play. Oh, no, hang on. That's a bad analogy. You lazy fucker. I've noticed a trend in publishing, just the last couple of years. The more depressing the childhood segment of the book, the better the book does, the better the biography does. People love reading about kind of horrible, depressing childhoods. So I've had a crack at writing a heartbreaking childhood memoir, which wasn't easy for me, because my childhood was actually fine. I was in a lot of fights at school. Well, not a lot, one. And it wasn't a fight, it was a debating society. And I wasn't in it, I was watching. Still, don't fucking mess. We were poor, but we were happy. I remember every Sunday morning you could hear my dad banging away, trying to get some life out of the old boiler. Then he'd give up, go upstairs and fuck my mum. I simply adored our pet dog, Patch, but one day my parents called me in and told me that Patch had been called away to the giant potato sack with bricks in it in the sky. For weeks I wasn't changed. I wasn't given proper food. Someone stuck the TV on in the corner and I just lay there in my own filth. God, I loved university. The other thing I've noticed with books is, like, anything with a spiritual element always does brilliantly. Look at the Bible. That's still a bestseller, even though they give it away in hotels. I guess you could say I haven't found Jesus, but then I think Jesus should try and find me. He's omnipotent, I'm on telly. How tough's that? Make a fucking effort, Christ. Or Christ, make a fucking effort. That works either way. I'm cynical about religion, but I'm not a cynic. I do believe in other things. I'm willing to believe in aliens, for example. I mean, if aliens don't exist, then who was it that abducted me at the age of 13 and transported me to a room full of weird flashing lights and subjected me to a terrifying rectal probing? Oh, that's right, it was the guy that ran the youth centre disco. Yeah. The thing that put me off religion was I was raised Catholic. Any other Catholics in? It's a weird thing, isn't it? Like Catholic school, if you go to Catholic school, sex education is very odd. Sex education, they don't want kids to be told about sex. They want to show them. The Catholic Church are weird. The only kind of contraception they seem to approve of is fucking young boys. Granted, you're not going to get them pregnant. One of my teachers was very sexually repressed. He used to take it out on the kids. One thing stuck in my head. He was responsible for the worst phrase in my childhood. You know, sometimes something bad happens, and then someone says something, and it just makes it 10 times worse, right? It was already bad. About 60 of us, my whole year, went swimming, big swimming regatta thing, and my friend Anthony got an erection. That's embarrassing, right? It's a bad situation. The teacher didn't make it any better by pointing out said erection, in case anyone had missed it, and then describing it as, wait for it, nature's thumbs up. It is weird, the stuff you remember when you look back. Like, I've sort of made some notes about my childhood. I thought I'd be able to remember the stuff they taught me. How an oxbow lake is formed, how World War I started, you know, the stuff they teach you at school. I can't remember any of that. I don't know what this says about me as a person, but I remember with total clarity the day Matt came into school and told us all he could suck his own cock. I remember clearly because he told us how he did it. He said he did it by falling backwards into the bath. I remember at the time thinking, there's an accident that's gone terrifically well. Most people laughing at that, just one man down the front giving me a look as if to say, I might have a bath later on. Mum, Dad, I'm just having a bath. Why isn't the water running? No reason. It's an interesting area. I think sexual awakening is, for a biography, that's always a good chapter. My uncle actually taught me the facts of life, but I can't tell you what they are because it's a special secret between me and him. Seriously, I can't say if I tell you my mum and dad will both die. When I was about 6, I was given a doll. I don't remember the doll's name. I just remember the game was you had to point to different places and say how many times it happened. Did you not have that game? Jealous much? One of the things that's holding me back from writing an autobiography is the fact that if you write one, you've got to talk about your private life in a very public way, and it changes the nature of celebrity. It makes you into more of a sort of tabloid celebrity. So I'll just dip my toe in the water. I'll talk about it a little bit, try and get used to it. My girlfriend is without a doubt the most beautiful girl I could get. I'll cut to the chase on this. People always ask, have you ever cheated on your partner? Well, yes, it's happened. It's nothing that I'm proud of, but, well, it was last Christmas, and I read all the Trivial Pursuit questions before we played. And then I fucked her sister. Which, if anything, made it worse. She's forgiven me now, though. She told me recently, she said, I'm fine, nothing's wrong. Good. I thought it was weird because she was crying. So I said, what's the problem? And she said, if you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. So I guess she's organising some sort of surprise party. I thought it'd be romantic to take my girlfriend back to where we first met. But she said, don't make me go back there, Mr. Jimmy. I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll be better. I worry about that joke. Is that just racy lacism? Oh, you racy lacist? It's not, it's an accent, it's fine, don't cry. I get asked, what's the secret of comedy? Graham Norton's got a wife and 2 kids. Doesn't leave this room. People ask me what I'll do if I ever run out of jokes. Well, I could always write an episode of 2 Pints of Lager. People seem mildly sort of obsessed. I always get asked, what did you do before comedy? Well, I used to work on the oil rigs off the coast of Aberdeen. I did. I was a male prostitute. I knew you from somewhere. Never forget a face. Or the back of someone's head. I often get asked, what's your pet hate? Well, he doesn't like it if you put things in his bum. But who can resist a cat's bumhole? It's like a towel holder from the 70s. They're strangely alluring. Right, I tell you what, I was going to talk to you about this. This is the question on this tour that's come up more than any other from audience members, yeah? What order would you do Girls Aloud in? Most men in this room have given that concerted thought. Even though we know it's never going to happen, we want to be ready just in case. In case we ever get a knock on the door from the 5 girls saying, I want you now, we want to be able to say, come in, ladies, the rota's on the fridge. I can explain myself. Cheryl first. I'll tell you why Cheryl first. I find her the most attractive, so I definitely want to get that one done. And let's face facts, I might only have one in me. 5 is not going to happen. Be honest, guys, 5 is never going to happen. Like every man in this room, the only time I've ever wanted to have sex twice is before I've had sex once. The ladies know what I'm talking about. You've all been over-promised to. I'm going to make love to you all night long. Or until I get sleepy. Let's see which comes first. I came first. Night-night. I would have the ginger one in the room at all times. Stop me going off early. Oh, Cheryl, I'm just about to... Oh. Oh, we're back in the game. People with Tourette's. What makes them tick? That was originally about suicide bombers. I've toned it down for you.